It was night in the jungle, and its silence was broken only by the sounds of a battle coming from some distance away. The culprits were a group of hunters who were beating a poor goblin. Their goal was to find the entrance to the labyrinth because only by entering the center of the valley and getting the secret key, it was possible to enter the real territory of Helen Butterfly Fairies. Having defeated one goblin, they decided that it wasn't as scary as the rumors said. However, that wasn't what made the hunters excited and anticipating success. By the way, if you haven't watched the previous episodes yet, please be sure to catch up on those first. Also, don't forget to subscribe. What they were most interested in was what was inside the area, namely Fern Tree Realm. According to the rumors, it was an incredibly beautiful place that hid mysteries and secrets. It was in one of the advertisements on the forum that after opening the road to the valley and obtaining the secret key, a huge reward was given. They expected it to be very difficult and in no way expected to encounter only a few low-level monsters at the entrance. It felt like this time, they could get a huge profit without any risks. However, as it turned out a moment later, their carefree adventure was not as safe as they thought. An arrow instantly pierced through the head of the too relaxed leader of their group. From the surprise and the sight of blood splattering everywhere, the rest of the group was horrified. It happened too quickly for the hunters to realize what was going on. The culprit was a goblin with a bow and a devilish smile on his face. But this time he was far from alone. And no, it wasn't even 3 of them. There was a whole army of them here. A few goblins didn't pose much of a threat to the hunters, but dealing with hundreds of armed goblins was a different matter. The end of such an encounter was obvious. Despite all the resistance of the hunters, the goblins didn't leave them a single chance. Having defended their territories and restored justice, the goblins began to collect trophies from the hunters. Collecting interesting things from dead adventurers was probably their favorite pastime, but their peaceful pastime didn't last long. Suddenly, a wall of fire surrounded them, trapping them. Attempts to escape from this hell were unsuccessful. This was true magic power. This time, the goblins faced a truly powerful opponent. It was far from the same loser hunters they had defeated. This time, they were truly masters of their craft. It was a team of professional hunters, led by Berserker Luo Feng. They were also interested in the forum mission, though they had sent them here from the game's main development office. Taking advantage of the few groups of amateurs who had also come to try their luck at the S-rank mission, they simply used them as bait, since they had managed to lure the monsters out without much effort. The only thing left to do was to finish them off. In the very next instant, an arrow that glowed with a bright golden light soared into the air. Suddenly, it split into hundreds of other arrows, and a deadly rain of arrows rained down straight towards the goblins. But it wasn't just the arrows that were a threat to them. The other hunters also rushed into battle. Our hero watched from the sidelines. Even experienced hunters had no chance to notice him because he was in stealth mode. In his opinion, using the rookie hunters as bait wasn't a bad strategy, but it was too cheap for him. Unfortunately, he looked too much like a monster now, and it wasn't safe for him to enter human cities. After all, the task of finding intruders could easily be accomplished this way. Attacking innocent bystanders was not Lin Tine's style. However, the guys from this team were not like that at all. They were the ones who were screwing over researchers from the same company just to compete for resources. In the past, our hero had often had to deal with this sort of thing, but each time, the company management turned a blind eye to it and said that it was just an accident. Our hero knew the truth and didn't want to put up with such injustice. He tried to tell Liu Dailong to stop hiring hunters with criminal backgrounds and put an end to these senseless killings. However, his words were powerless against Liu Dailong's rotten brain, who only smiled wryly in response. He pretended not to understand what he was talking about and advised Lin Chen not to poke his nose where it didn't belong. He even suggested our hero call the police if he thought they were criminals. To make a long story short, this team was a bunch of trash who had also participated in the siege and suppression of himself before he was treacherously killed. That was why he had no qualms about killing them. They even deserved it. But Lin Qian still had a big problem in front of him in eliminating them. The difference in strength between them was still very large. They had plenty of strong people in their team, whose level even reached 13. But the biggest danger was their leader Luo Feng, a level 15 berserker. All of them were criminals who were killed without hesitation. For the past few days, our hero had been following the strategy of leveling up the fastest. But even so, he was still only at level 10. And since using the monster's will was out of the question, it was still too dangerous for him to deal with so many people surpassing his level. Luckily, after completing the missions, he had some points, thanks to which he unlocked the stealth function. It was thanks to this feature that he was able to sneak up on them unnoticed and start thinking up a plan of action. Moreover, The rewards from the previous daily missions go beyond jungle points. The rest of the battle is entirely up to him. And of course, from the cute and joyful mushroom, who was ready to help him. High in the sky above the jungle, a bird was soaring in the sky. It was thanks to it that one of the group members could observe everything from the air. Unfortunately for them, at the moment, more than 70% of the area was covered in fog, making it very difficult for her spirit pet to see clearly. Hearing this, Luo Feng told her to order her spirit pet to go lower and investigate everything carefully. The girl immediately discarded this idea, because if he was near the ground, he would easily fall within the range of the monster's attacks. However, the big guy didn't care about that at all. He immediately put her in front of a choice. Either she seeks away as he tells her, or she dies. The girl had no choice, so she did as he told her. The consequences were not long in coming. An arrow flew out of the mist at great speed and instantly struck her spirit pet. The girl immediately coughed up blood. The attack inflicted on her pet was directly affecting her as well. However, Luo Feng was only concerned about whether she was able to see anything. From his look, one could easily tell that if he failed, he was ready to get rid of her at the same moment. Fortunately, the girl was lucky and managed to see the layout of the valley. This was great news for the group. Luo Feng wasn't going to waste a second and informed everyone that they were immediately going to the valley. And thus, this chapter draws to a close. Stay tuned to discover what unfolds next in the story. In the meantime, why not explore my other videos? Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for more captivating stories. Your support means the world to me.